There are a lot of Sonic characters in this franchise. Characters that you may not even know exist, like, Robo Hedge, Sonic the Zone Cop, and of course, classic Sonic. And when a franchise as big as Sonic has this many characters, companies use these characters for smaller side projects to help the franchise grow. Spin-off games revolving around characters that are normally sidekicks or rivals. Games like Luigi's Mansion, Echoes of Wisdom, or WarioWare are all examples of this. They usually stray away from the game's normal gameplay style and strive to do something else completely different. But this ain't a video about the possibilities of Sonic character spin-off games. I will say though, an Amy game using the style and gameplay of Sonic CD would be fire as hell. And also a Blaze game would save the franchise from like everything. However, that's not to really say they never did this stuff at all. There's a good handful of Sonic spin-off games that revolve around other characters. And thanks to the success of other Sonic characters appearing in mainline games, and with the hype of the new Shadow Generations game, I think it's safe to say there's a lot more to come in the future. Or this is the last one, I don't know, it's Sonic theme we're talking about here. But why did they stop making games like this? Were these games just so bad that it scared Sega from ever making spin-off games like this again? Or maybe they were just too good and the world wasn't ready for these games. It's Sonic the Hedgehog, you already know it's not that. Tails the Fox, the second most popular character in the whole series. Fourth most popular character. How's Knuckles more popular than him? He has a total of 2 games on the Game Gear. They're both kind of weird. Tails Sky Patrol and Tails Adventure. Fun fact, until the Sonic collections with all the Game Gear games, Tails Sky Patrol was a Japanese exclusive title. There's no reason why they did this, they just kind of felt like it. It's alright though, because this game! These pieces of shit are turning West Side Island and all its inhabitants into crystals. So Tails decides to use his flying powers and a ring he randomly finds to stop them. That's it, that's the whole story. You fight each head at the end of the level and then the day is saved. The gameplay is very different compared to a normal Sonic game. You fly around auto-scrolling levels and you need to manage your flight timer with these little mint candies you find throughout the stages. And if you just so happen to touch a wall or floor, then you die. This game is hard. Very, very, very hard. There's enemies everywhere that make you fall to the floor. There's bosses that get worse and worse each one you fight. Random ass obstacles that pop up. It's not like an awful game though. I actually found the challenge sort of fun in a way. I would probably rip my hair out though if not for the Sonic Origins save states. But yeah, it's an okay game. There's not really much to say about it. There's only like 5 levels. The last one's a piece of shit, but it's okay. The more popular game out of the two here has to be Tails Adventure, the first and only Metroidvania styled Sonic game. If you don't know what a Metroidvania is, it's a genre focused on exploration in interconnected areas. So like Metroid, Castlevania, yeah that. West Side Island gets invaded by the Battle Cuckoo to find the Chaos Emeralds. With the help of explosives and robots, Tails defends his home and saves West Side Island once again. You know, I just realized this dude saved West Side Island like twice before meeting Sonic and he still got bullied and harassed by the civilians. Bunch of assholes. This again isn't like a normal Sonic game. You're not running through loops and slopes. You're carefully exploring every area you find, finding power-ups and upgrades along the way. You even collect the Chaos Emeralds to gain health. Typical Metroid for babies type stuff. There ain't really much to talk about here other than the basics because it doesn't really do much else other than the essentials of a Metroidvania. Though I will say, a Tails Metroidvania is actually a great idea. It's done okay here, but imagine a new fresh take on this idea. A Tails Adventure 2. I'd say with more thought and effort, a game like this would be pretty damn great. Or maybe they'd f it up. I mean, this is Sega we're talking about here. They can't even do a 2D Sonic game anymore. Oh yeah, I forgot about Tails and the Music Maker. Yeah, that's Tails and the Music Maker. Moving on. It's just Puyo Puyo with an Adventures of Sonic spin on it. That's it. That's literally it. Moving on. You know, I actually found out there's like a community of people that have a crush on this specific Robotnik. I don't blame them. Knuckles the Echidna, somehow the 3rd most popular character in the series. He's been in lots of Sonic games with very unique gameplay styles compared to Sonic and Tails, so I think it'd be like first nature to make a game about him. Maybe a treasure hunting game where you explore vast open areas, finding treasures and emerald shards. Maybe a Sonic Unleashed styled brawler game where you unlock more moves the more you play. Or how about a classic Sonic game but you're high on crack the whole time? Literally everyone on the planet knows this, but Sega planned a Sonic and Tails game called Sonic Crackers to be on their new add-on of the Sega Genesis, the 32 32X. The prototype was just Sonic and Tails tethered to a ring running around an open level. It was janky, clumsy, had awful collision, and the physics were like almost to the level of the original Sonic games, but not really. It was just an overall mess to play. So how about we just give it to Knuckles instead? This guy can't be seen with bad games yet. Knuckles Chaotix! Dr. Robotnik and Metal Sonic explore the new Tragic High Zone to find the 6 magic rings so they can conquer the world. Don't ask why Knuckles is here instead of Sonic, nobody knows. And Knuckles, along with his new team, the Chaotix, go through 5 unique zones of the game. They find the rings and save the day. These guys kind of just showed up randomly. This game has so much style to it. It easily sticks out compared to the other classic Sonic games. Instead of the normal Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles here, we get— oh dear God! Listen. They never ported this game once, so it's either legal terms or $600, okay? And I don't know about you, but my 830-ass subscriber count is not doing that yet, so deal with it. There's 5 characters to choose from here. Knuckles, he's got the same moves as he did in Sonic 3. Espio, who can wall run instead of climbing and leap off walls. Mighty, who is just the not Sonic, he can wall jump though, so take that bitch. Vector, who can also climb and has this little dash thing. And Charmy. No clip mode. He can fly through the air without any limit and can dash without any hold up or anything. He breaks all the levels. There's 2 extra characters here too, Heavy and Bomb. You can't really play as them, but they serve as the partner tethered to the ring you have. Don't ever try and get these 2, by the way. They make your experience dog shit. Speaking of gimmicks, the main gimmick of this game is the tether ring. Essentially, you and the partner you pick with a claw machine are stuck together. This offers a variety of puzzles, such as standing still. Okay, 1 gimmick. It's an okay gimmick. It can slow you down every now and then. The collision can be kind of shit, but there's not much of an issue with it otherwise. You pick whatever zone you want to go to with this wheel spin thing. Whatever it lands on is the stage you play. There's 5 acts to each zone, and they never really get too long. And since it always flip-flops between zones, there's never a time where I got bored of these stages. The level design is very unique compared to the standard classic Sonic game. There's definitely a problem with them being so big that it feels like a maze, but with the right character, you can have a blast with them. To be fair though, if you're ever stuck with a level, you just choose Charmy and you'll beat it in like 30 seconds. The levels take more of a vertical approach here as opposed to the horizontal level design you see in Sonic 1 through 3. It kind of reminds me of an arcade game at times. Dash through walls, wall jumping everywhere. It's very fast and a frantic game. There's a lot of unique power-ups here too, like the ones that shrink you and make you big, the Combine Ring, which actually returns in Sonic Mania. It turns all your rings into 1 or a few big giant rings. Big giant rings, yeah, okay. There's the partner switching item box that lets you play as the second player for a little bit. You can even change your partner entirely with the boxes you find. It's one of the most unique Sonic games of all time. That's not even talking about the amazing art style here. The colors are just a lot more colorful. It feels like the art of the Japanese Sonic box arts turned into a whole game. There's even a day and night cycle here too. Doesn't do anything, but whatever, it's cool as hell. And the music, man, this is definitely one of the best Sonic soundtracks for a classic game. I don't really know if it can beat Sonic CD's Japanese soundtrack for me, but it comes very, very close. There's a much more relaxing and somber mood here compared to stuff like Sonic 3, even if it uses a really similar sound font to that game. And I'd say it fits the game extremely well. There's a lot more funk here, which complements the art style. I'm actually surprised how much I enjoyed this game, especially since it gets a lot of hate from the community. So much hate that it even gets neglected every time a new classic Sonic collection comes out. It's never been ported once since its original release. I think if it got the same treatment as the Origins games, the output would be a lot better, because it's such an odd little game with so much charm to it. I don't know if I'd call it the best looking classic Sonic game, but it's definitely up there. If you've never played this game before, definitely check it out with an emulator or something, because this is very, very damn fun. I'm actually shocked. Despite the problems with these games, I wouldn't really call any of these awful. They all just seem to lack the full potential they should get, which is just like every Sonic game ever, so, you know, why don't people like these? I really wonder why they stopped doing stuff like this. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Can you see all of me? Walk into my mystery, step inside, So, when Sonic Adventure 2 released, Shadow became an insanely popular character among the community. Kinda shot Sega in the foot though, because they killed him off in that game, but whatever. So with the release of Sonic Heroes, Shadow returned with a new story with an added mystery to it. The whole is Shadow the real Shadow, or just an android made by Eggman thing? The answer to this question? A whole ass game with the style of Sonic Adventure that's way too complicated, boring, frustrated, and overall just kind of meh. By the way, this game came out because of a poll Sega made asking what spin-off they wanted, so like, this is your fault. Shadow the Hedgehog was an attempt to make the series cater towards a bit of an older audience. Heavier tones, the use of swearing, use of guns and whatnot. For the story, I think the general plot is pretty cool, with Shadow's amnesia storyline continuing from Sonic Heroes. There's a war that happens between Gun, the Eggman Empire, and a new threat, Black Doom. He's an alien that helped Gerald Robotnik create Shadow using the 7 Chaos Emeralds. You, the player, have to choose what path to do. Help Sonic and friends save the world, be the bad guy, or do your own thing. I think the concept of choosing your own path is pretty cool, actually. It was an idea from Sonic Adventure 2 that was supposed to be there at first, but came back with this game. Doesn't fucking do anything, though. You have to play the game like 10 times for an actual ending. Yeah, the game doesn't really do anything well with its ideas. Making you replay the game 10 times with slight changes is already a bad enough sign. Mix that with gameplay gimmicks like the guns and the vehicles.
Brennan, what the fuck just happened
you're so
in the
basic.
game, by the way?
Coolness.
I was low.
Yeah, they didn't do that very well. This is just not a fun game at all. The level design and level themes are very uninteresting. The story is confusing as all hell. The gimmicks are very tacked on and just kind of suck. I think the problem here is that they tried to be too ambitious and too safe at the same time. I mean, this game technically tried to be more ambitious than every mainline Sonic game before this, and it's a spin-off game. Yeah, that makes sense to me. It plays it safe, though, with the level design being very basic and flanderized versions of the Adventure 2 level design. The gimmicks are okay enough, I guess. The gun feels more like a fast-paced Ratchet and Clank. You don't really have to use them, though. I think a basic homing attack works well enough. I like the Chaos Control powers. It's kind of cool, I guess. Yeah, playing this bored the hell out of me. I don't think I can make a whole video about this game, even if I wanted to. It's the most bored I've been at a Sonic game. Like, at least with Forces, I can have fun thinking about the ideas this game had. But this? Yeah, there's nothing here. Brain no working. After that, though, Sega pulled the plug on the idea of Sonic spin-offs. They obviously weren't too interested in the idea anyway, but this game set them far away from it. Actually, it was these guys that did that, but whatever, blame the game, I guess. So that leads us to now. I think it's safe to say the Sonic brand has gotten a lot better since the Sonic Friends Suck days. People actually saw the trailer for Shadow Generations and thought it looked cool. It's maybe as if these characters are cool and they should actually do more stuff with them. With the hype of Shadow Generations, people have been wondering and debating what kind of spin-off they should do next. Speculation has been everywhere with this, an Amy game similar to the new Zelda and Peach game, for example. But according to this post I made for this video, the biggest wanted spin-offs had to do with Silver, Knuckles, and surprisingly, the Chaotix. How the fuck did the Chaotix get here? The general idea of a Silver and Knuckles game is very easy to think about, but the Chaotix, I'm actually surprised how many ideas people brought up here. A Sam and Max style choose your own adventure game? A Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog type game? Charmy Bee treasure tracker? Okay, we're done reading that. I think the future of Sonic spin-offs are bright. Sonic Team really seem to have taken notes about the do's and don'ts of a Sonic spin-off after Shadow. And with good hands, you can make a great game with any of these characters. Give us a new Tails Metroidvania, a Knuckles beat 'em up, an Amy game with the style of Sonic CD, a Blaze Sonic Rush type game, a fucking Charmy Bee treasure tracker, give us that! That's pretty much it here. Tails Sky Patrol is a fun but hard as balls challenging game. Tails Adventure is a quirky and cute Metroidvania. Knuckles Chaotix, in my opinion, is a really underrated gem that deserves to get seen in a more positive light. And Shadow the Hedgehog at best is just a shittier version of Adventure 2 and Heroes. And Mean Bean Machine and Music Maker are just kinda there. Yeah, that's it. Video's over.
My name Jeff Kidney. I want to boost the bad video game with it.
Can you see all the game?